drama of the defeats. It worked very well 4 years ago for him. So USA with port entry this time for the last race of the day, race number 4. And maybe the tactics will be a little more aggressive here from the Americans if Joey Newton is to be believed. New Zealanders have done a really good job, though, Kenny, haven't they? Not just in the pre-starts, but in the races as a whole, of essentially staying out of trouble, staying clear of the paws of Jimmy Spithill, staying out of reach.
That's a very fair point, and that's exactly right. The pause, that big, you know, you mentioned that the kind of the taunting. Jimmy, it's very clear he kind of likes playing the mind games a little bit. Well, either Burling is deaf and doesn't hear it, or he just simply doesn't care. Here, as we're saying this, you see Emirates Team New Zealand on the left-hand side of the picture right now, going very slow. Either they got a problem or had a really, really bad jibe. I'm not sure which. And here comes Spithill, going right at him with 1:21 to go before the start. This is going to be a little bit different.
Race number 4 of the America's Cup match, USA against New Zealand, Spithill against Burling, the defenders in some trouble. Last chance today for them to rescue this situation and spend their next few days rather more free of angst and worry.
Emirates Team New Zealand entered this start line box and immediately had either a bad jibe or a mechanical problem. Here's their jibe. They're trying to follow down Oracle. This is the jibe. Something, Burling just kind of stops there for a second, whether they have lack of power, something went really horribly wrong, and it has set them up to be in a kind of a tricky predicament here. They're being put very early to the start, Oracle trying to hook them. And he's defending it. He's defending it incredibly well. He's really in a tough spot. And Emirates Team New Zealand could be in a good position coming off this line. Incredible comeback in this pre-start by Emirates Team New Zealand.
Well, that is the hand-to-hand combat that you've been mentioning throughout this America's Cup campaign. The New Zealanders out in front yet again and holding off the challenge of Spithill in the pre-start.
Very similar to the last race, except they've swapped sides. Can Emirates Team New Zealand reach over the top of Oracle Team USA by the time they get to Mark 1? They've broken the overlap, it appears. Now will they reach down over the top? And they are.
They're going 4 knots quicker.
They're going to use their wing wash again here and slow down Oracle before they get to the mark. Man, 4 races in a row.
There's the wing wash, there's the disturbed air that Ken has been referring to, causing all kinds of bother for Oracle Team USA. Frankly, right now, that will be the least of their concerns. They've got to find a way into this contest somehow. They've been taken to the cleaners, frankly, in the opening 3 races.
More knocking pressure.
Being put to the test. Jimmy Spithill was expecting the battle of his life, as he explained in the pre-match press conference. He's in it. He's in the thick of it right now.
Very similar to race number 1, with almost identical boat speeds going downwind. It's upwind that the Kiwis really had a dominant setup in that first race today, and this 11-12 knots of wind speed.
Consistently a couple of knots quicker. Upwind, downwind, doesn't seem to make too much of a difference to them. And the Americans have to find a way to negate that. Round gate 2, as smooth as you like.
Yeah, I'd say it's more like the norm. Copy that.
Building later. Here we go. Active.
Split course.
Feels like good left here. Stand by. Keep the bill gun. Stand by. Real wide.
Because right now, Ken, they need wins from somewhere to really propel them forwards, don't they? Because they're in big trouble.
I wish we could say their maneuvers were slower. I wish we could say their tacks were worse, their jibes were worse. It's clearly they haven't been getting off the starting line, but the fact is they look pretty good. You know, it's not like in the earlier rounds and the times that we would see a team make one big critical error and lose 150 meters immediately. This is like a slow trickle down, you know, that is just 1 meter at a time. And consistent. Kiwis will tack to stay in the same water again. They're going to give up a little bit of their lead, not go all the way to the boundary, tack in the middle of the race course, and only slow down to 19 knots in the middle of that tack. So you can tack as much as you want if you're only going to slow down at 19 knots.
Starting to go right. 200, Tommy. Copy, yeah. Keep charging the tack.
Kyle Langford, the wing trimmer, and Tommy Slingsby, the commentators on board.
So the Americans tacking the course laid out for you there, bottom left of your screen. That's where they are currently.
A bit of a match race going on here, Ali, where Emirates Team New Zealand is now kind of tacked in a fairly traditional match racing position on top of Oracle Team USA. We look at these boats, and this has been consistent, whether Emirates Team New Zealand was sailing against Artemis or against Oracle. The Kiwis just look like they point higher all the time. And we're going to try to get a visual here in a minute.
Okay, boys, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It shows just that angle difference. It's something, as a sailor, we love the fact that you can point higher than another boat. You wouldn't think it would be a big deal in foiling catamarans that are going 25, 27 knots upwind, but any little advantage, that VMG advantage that I've been trying to train you about, it's not very easy to do.
It's a slightly complicated thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
The boat's velocity in the direction of your destination, essentially.
That's not bad. We're trying different phrases all the time. That's not bad.
Getting there.
Yeah. It's like they're low. Okay.
But the angles, I think, are relatively straightforward. Because if you can get a sharper angle up to the gate, then you're making more ground up the course, aren't you, per maneuver?
Every time we talk about this and how the Kiwis are dominating, then you go down to the bottom of each of the sides here, and USA is actually going better as VMG upwind. They might be in a little bit more breeze.
122. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here comes another tack from Oracle Team USA. Again, they've been really good on the tacks. They've been really solid on the maneuvers. I'm going to guess that they're really pleased with how those are going.
Here we go back with him.
Let's go back out to Joey Newton for a second on the water. And Joey, the maneuvers look great. The tacks look great. The jibes look, for the most part, great. Just a little off the pace.
Yeah, it's certainly what it looks like, Ken. Kiwis again, a pretty slippery downwind. I think USA paid a little bit to split at the bottom, and then they've just been hanging in their upwind. But the Kiwis doing a really nice job of just tacking in the right spot, spending a little bit of their lead early on to get in between Oracle and the marks, but now they're just tacking in the right spot. They're finding the shifts and a bit more breeze and tacking on them, and that's what's helping them extend so much.
Ali, when the boat ahead plays the wind shifts correctly, even if they're in an even boat, you're not going to pass them. That's the bottom line, and Joey's exactly right. They're just tacking in the right spot. They're minimizing their maneuvers. They're playing match race games and tacking on the other boat when they need to, and then they're splitting away from them here and minimizing a tack coming into the weather mark. So it's a bit textbook right now, to be honest. It's clinical at this stage for Emirates Team New Zealand.
And that seems to me to be a very good adjective to describe this man, Peter Burling. He is clinical, he is cool, but he's instinctive as well. You can see him checking, seeing where the wind shifts may be, seeing what the best path might be. All the time, eyes up. Very natural sailor. Everybody involved in the sport says what a natural talent he has for it. Started out, of course, in the Red Bull Youth America's Cup, came up through that program.
I mean, this is another launching going on right here, right now, for the Kiwis. I guess we mentioned earlier that for Oracle, this is a big race because you don't want to go into essentially what's like a bye week, you know, but a week off, 5 days off on such a downer. But at the same time, they might be thinking, whoa, back to the drawing board here, and which is in its own way kind of shocking. You would have thought that after the last 2 weeks they had to develop their boat, they would have come out ready to start to do some thrashing, but they are clearly not the faster boat here, and the faster boat always wins the America's Cup.
We had that debate yesterday, didn't we? Ring rusty or rested. And it would appear that it's very much the former at the moment.
Stand by.
The Kiwis match tough, having come through the Challenger playoffs.
3, 2, 1.
And they are very much in charge of operations at the moment.
Not only must it be a blast to sail a boat like that on a day like today, but imagine how cool it is to be just crushing Oracle in the America's Cup right now.
The Parrot's getting a workout. I hope he's taking his seasickness pills.
You look at
just effortless. It isn't effortless, of course, but
all the numbers down. He's got numbers on his wrists. He's got numbers here. He's got push buttons there. So we've been saying they cleared things out for Burling. Those are numbers that are to how the fast the boat's going. They're going, let's see, they're going 32 knots. I got it. Let's take a look on the Parrot with Jimmy here. So the difference is that Burling is down in the cockpit all the time, right? That windage, that low windage, because Jimmy has to see up and over all these guys standing up in front of him, including Kyle Langford. And so we don't see down in his cockpit just because of the positioning of where these guys sit in their own personal cockpits.
And he's taking care of the winch as well now.
Really totally different setups. He cleats down the winch. The main sheet runs across. Slingsby's already on the wheel, jumps in. Slingsby gets out of the way and hops on a little bike in the back, his hybrid system, and starts pumping some hydraulic fluid.
Big one there, boys. Dig it in.
You see those heart rates of the grinders. They're all much higher than the cycles.
They typically are.
Into that
no, exactly. They typically are, and I'm sure we can get a doctor in here and have.
Gotta go right mark again.
I'm not even going to speculate.
Little recharge. Should be starting to stop it coming up.
You keep calling this a slick operation. I'd say that's the understatement of the century right now.
Still nice riding down here, 122.
Just barely see those hulls dropping, extending higher. They are moved as crisply as is humanly possible.
There will be a split at this bottom gate. Oracle jibing one and in to the gate right now, and they will take the other side. And it's at least in this race here, it's becoming desperation time. They need, again, as we talked about in that last race, they need a bit of a wind shift or wind pressure miracle at this stage.
26 boys. Big lefty. Yeah, don't chase it. Don't chase it. Yeah, just come up.
And the Americans hunting for wind.
Doing that. This is really wide pressure. All looks on their inside. Got boundary here. Stand by.
We are going to have to talk to the drone operators to see if we can get them to take a shot in between these two hulls.
Touch and go.
Over the last day.
Touch and go, which means it's not going to be a great foiling tack. A touch and go means that leeward hull is going to go in the water for a time.
BMG.
In the background, the stands and the people and the incredible race village that's been built here in Bermuda.
So heading up to gate 5, upwinds, and the wind shift only a small one to the right-hand side, Ken?
Yeah, tiny little wind shift. Again, they closed up a little bit because Emirates Team New Zealand did a couple extra attacks in order to just kind of control the situation. It looks like chaotic control, but it's control. They've positioned themselves in a similar part of the race course, almost directly upwind from Oracle Team USA. They've given up a little bit of their lead, but again, as a tactician or as a helmsman, you're looking over your shoulder downwind right now and you see Oracle in your peripheral vision and you're very happy, very content. They're not going the other way. I got this right now. And it's just a perfect setup.
It's becoming a pretty familiar sight for the Kiwis at this point. So effectively what you're saying is they've relinquished a little bit of their lead so they can have the Americans at arm's length. They've effectively got their fist on the collar of Jimmy Spithill, holding him back.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, is you would have thought they'd have pulled out all their toys to come out of the blocks here. They've known for a good solid 4 or 5 days what the wind strength is going to be these first 2 days. That's about how good the long-term forecast, the long-term predictions. You're going upwind. You look at the angle differences. Here's Oracle going up here, and there's Team New Zealand there. There's just a constant higher angle. And we saw it against Artemis last week. When they sail with these boards, they point higher to the wind. That is a better VMG. It seems to be really a dominant mode for them upwind, which is so powerful when you're match racing. Getting to know your new best friend just a little bit better.
It's not a conventional meeting position, is it? Unless you're canine.
There's got to be okay. That was almost too far. There's got to be a downside to everything, right?
So again, it is very hard to know what the Americans can do to force the pace from here. It probably is again reliant on an error, and a fairly sizable one from the Kiwis. I mean, if you are on the American boat right now, Kenny, are you just hoping beyond hope that next weekend the gales come?
Well, okay, that's at least it's a strategy. Hope, though, is not.
It's not a good strategy.
No, it's not a great strategy. They've all known for years what the average wind speed here in Bermuda was going to be this week. At least you take a guess at it, of course. It can be a little bit of everything. The wind gods do what they want, but I've seen somewhere between that kind of 8 to 11 knot range as an average wind speed here in Bermuda this time of year. I've seen it off of tons of different weather forecasters' sheets. Tacking. Hold on.
Yeah, you can see, when you see it up close like that, you can completely tell how simple it would be just to lob somebody off the edge. Wouldn't take an awful lot.
Nice rider coming on this.
Not just strength required from all those on board, a little bit of balance too. into gate 5. They will go downwind for one final leg. They will reach to the finish. And they will be feeling extremely happy with the way their campaign is progressing just at the moment. Concentration and focus required. But history tells us that they have that in spades. Just screaming across the water.
Happy forward.
Absolute dominance at this stage. So right in front, this is Peter Burling. Right in front is Glenn Ashby. Glenn Ashby is always down inside that little. You can see a box. He's got a box in his hand right there. I know I'm a terrible circular drawer, I've been told. He's controlling the wing trim, the twist, the camber, and the sheet, the in and out, all with his thumbs. There's no winch involved, there's no nothing. It's really a fascinating setup as to how they're taking the aerodynamic. We talk about the hydrodynamics all the time. It's the aerodynamic part of the project. There he is again. So let's zoom in. There's Glenn Ashby, that box that he's holding on to and controlling everything. You see the wing going in and out right there, in and out. But it's not just that. He's controlling the twist of the wing, the camber of the wing. Absolutely revolutionary with regard to how they're trimming and how the setup of this boat works. It must be really strange for somebody like Glenn Ashby, who's been trimming sails and steering boats his whole life, to not have a rope in his hand. You know, it had to take some real getting used to.
A lead of almost 900 meters for Emirates Team New Zealand. The challengers. Beaten challenger, of course, 4 years ago from a position of enormous dominance, and whilst the Americans will be deeply concerned, they will also perhaps be clinging to a little bit of hope that they can find a way back in. It's not over till it's over. That's what San Francisco taught us.
Let's go back to Joey Newton for a quick second. Joey, it's going to be a long week, obviously, in the Oracle camp, but boy, oh boy, what can you pull out of the box right now? Do you think the Kiwis have been saving stuff themselves? I mean, is this a different boat than what you thought you'd be racing against?
It is a little bit, Ken. I mean, the America's Cup, it's about learning and evolving and changing and getting the boat faster as you go through the event. This boat we're seeing today, the New Zealand boat, it's quicker than the one we raced a few weeks ago. They've adapted and evolved a little bit quicker than the American boat. You know, we'll go away this week and they'll have some pretty frank discussions, and the guys would already be thinking about what we're going to do to mode the boat differently to try and match or leapfrog over the Kiwi boat.
It's happened before, Ali. It happened in San Francisco, but I tell you what, this just has a little different feel to it. I have to tell you.
Tearing down the runway. The New Zealanders' victory in their sights. Hordes of supporters on the shoreline. And of course on all those boats out there on the Great Sound too. It has been such a dominant, impressive display. Peter Burling at the helm. And right now the Kiwis are hammering the Americans. 4 races, 4 wins. They are cleaning up. And the New Zealanders putting on a show for all those watching here in Bermuda, and of course thousands, millions around the world too. Those on the North and South Islands will be delighted with what they've seen, hoping beyond hope that they can see it through all the way to the end now. Get it done, get it finished. Bring that trophy back to New Zealand. For the Americans, goodness, it's going to be a very uncomfortable few days for Jimmy Spithill and his crew.
A somber team, a somber camp right now for Oracle Team USA. A lot of somber fans here in Bermuda. I don't think anybody saw this coming. Maybe the Kiwis did, but I'm not so sure anybody else did.
And they're trailing in beyond the minute mark as well. The margins of victory, the margins are large. They really are big, no matter what Jimmy Spithill is trying to tell us. That was a pounding. And after 2 days of racing, the Americans are in big, big trouble. Not quite a crisis of San Francisco proportions just yet, but the red lights are blinking.
That's very well put.
Here's the race summary then, and the USA across the start line.